Do you love me, baby? Do you love me, baby? Why you gonna leave me, baby? Don't you want to love your baby? La 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 I guess the weekend's over now, and you'll have to make your way. Have to make your way. And a ball of dynamite right from the first day. From the first day. Tell me that you're coming just as soon as you get home. To pacify my heart while I'm alone. I don't like being alone. Things we did this time of love we've never done before. Never done before. Made some changes in my head. I don't feel the same no more. Feel the same no more. Tell me it's not make believe this feeling that you show. To comfort me, my love, while I'm alone. I don't like being alone. Just think sometimes you left me for remembering and I've been blind. Something I can't see no more, not for my foolish pride. For my foolish these feelings never all the time when you're not home. To pacify my heart right now. I don't like that alone. Can't stop. The piano. And all the time you know I don't like me, you're not alone, baby. Don't you leave me, baby. Good morning. I don't know how long I'm gonna be up. I don't know if I'm gonna have a panel. I don't know if what the fuck am I gonna say next. But I'll let you know this. Good morning. It's nice to see you all waking up this morning, fresh and bushy tailed and bright eyed and shit. Woo! Oh yeah. Woo! I can't even get my woos out. Woo! That's close enough, shit. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been on here. Sometimes I got a rant. Whatever the spirit hits me, it hits me. I just noticed there's a lot of dumbass people out there in the world. And unfortunately, the stupidity that carries out with most individuals, I will personally say this, it's a fault of society. You got people who think that it's okay for 40, 50s, late 30s, 40-year-old women to have children. You know how hard that is on women? People will argue this shit up and down. Yes, I know one or two women that might have had children late 30s, post 40, but all them women have actually told me, and I quote, never the fuck again. Never the fuck again. Uh, you know, thou shall not be foolish. What's extremely hard for people who don't obey science is this: 90% of women have a massive drop in progesterone, like BGS stated. I've even looked it up. You got people, my mom had me at 40. Yeah, is your mom everybody else? No? Fuck up. We need to stop saying that everybody can do this shit. No, 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 hell no. Stop it. I'm sorry. Human beings got to put a little bit of a check on a lot of shit they do. It's insanity. Then you have some jackass talking about, oh, the police killed a kid. You know, because they're following the rhetoric that the news will talk about. Nobody ever talks about the kid who points at, runs away from the police and points a gun at him and you get shot. Wait a minute, I thought that was damn near automatic. Nobody likes to talk about, why aren't you raising your children properly? You're supposed to have an exception to the rule and never a rule to the exception. I remember my boy, he just got married, salute to him. His now wife actually said it. If I had a choice in them, I would never have done it. She's like, I love my kids, but God, no. The recovery's hard, and it's just sad when
You got shit like feminism and people who don't understand science nor take the time to understand estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and all these other fucking hormones and how they affect the body. Nobody wants to admit this shit. Everybody wants to say we're all equal, and and we're not. I'm sorry, we're not. We just are not. I've never been in a place where society will let you know that everybody's not equal. I'm sorry. Everybody is not fucking equal. There's only one gold medalist for each weight class. There to even have weight classes in an event dictates that everybody's not equal. It just does. And what makes it sad, right, is that when you try to talk to people with some level of intellect, there's always people who would rather believe the sensational lie over the simplistic truth. Why? Because you want to sensationalize shit. You want to galvanize people's ignorance. Why? Why? What do you gain out of it? Wanton destruction? I even said it in a post. If you really want to change the youth, why don't you teach them? All these people who want to talk about, well, the police are doing this, the police are doing that. Motherfucker, what are you doing? What the hell are you possibly doing? You're no different than the mama who kept three of her sons in the same crime infested, riot infested, roach infested, lead infested fucking neighborhood, and all three of your sons are dead because you don't give a fuck. You basically don't care. And that's what it really boils down to. You don't care. You don't want to give a damn. You don't want to salute. You don't want to give your kids a fighting chance, especially not your boys. Especially fuck them. Fuck them. Well, you gotta blame the police. No, blame your fucking parents for raising you like a goddamn heathen. Y'all gonna have to forgive me on this one today, brothers. Because your boy's gonna be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It's one of those days. But back on this bullshit. Back on this bullshit. If you're so worried about your kids or your sons specifically getting accosted by the police, let's go back to phase one. Are there some bad cops? Yes. Is that the majority? No. It's amazing how many run ins my boys who grew up in Baltimore, damn near all of us grew up in East Baltimore. Pretty much. I never heard them say, hey, we need to get some bail money. Hey, can you pick me up because the cop's about to tow my car? You know, can you take my car? No, you never heard that. We never had a conversation about that. You never heard this shit. No, they're not going to pull their money, get the fuck off the hood because that's what the hood loves ignorance. The same motherfuckers you usually hear complain about the police are the same motherfuckers who are dead shit quiet when they raise their children, their nieces, their nephews, their neighbors' children, and say nothing when they wreak havoc Yep, I said it. I said it. I say it all the time. How you see your children is going to be a large determining factor on how successful your children will be. It's like BGS talking to Big J Triple X earlier. And he said, well, the biggest question is that there's not enough suitable men for educate. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. I'm gonna prove to you how fucking pathetic, because we're not gonna get off this child. I'm gonna prove to you how pathetic the black community is when it comes to the majority of our women when it comes to mating and dating. The police department is 88% male. The fire department is 93% male. You literally have females outnumbered, literally 9, 8, and damn near 10 to 1. All these motherfuckers are making six figures or better, starting six figures, and you pick the lowest common denominator to have a baby by. But yet, a grown ass man should never be able to literally question you when you want to come out and bring your ass to the dating world. And he shouldn't ask you, do you have any kids? What was your last relationship about? And how old, if you have any kids? And the last question is respectful. Are the kids respectful? And this goes back into how many times have you seen it where you see a lack of discipline, you're going to see an abrupt explosion of unruly children. And we know by statistics how many of these children are being raised as destructive terrorists. How many? But we have the audacity to say, well, it's only it's only just a small bit. But you are scared to talk against that small bit. How many times have I said, if you give a damn about something, you're willing to cultivate it? Where's the cultivated kids in our community? Only group of communities that the only fucking illogical people in the world. Well, you'll blame somebody for not being there, but the person who's there 90% of the time can walk away scot free. We're not going to play that. Well, I'm good to my kids. Bullshit. You ever notice the people who are good to their kids don't have to say it out loud? You ever notice the people who actually cultivate their kids and their learning don't even mention it? They don't need a ticker tape parade. It's a damn shame when a high school graduation and a prom is the zenith or the pinnacle of success in the black community. Damn shame. Hold on for a second, folks. I'm back. I mean, really. And everything I say in this rant, it may be all over the place, but it comes full circle. Trust me. Because we don't cultivate our children in this community, even though I don't really like calling it a community, I just say we're in neighborhoods where niggas live near each other. Because that's what it basically is. I can't come to you and say, yo, my son needs a job. What infrastructure do we own in our so called community? He can't even sweep hair at the barbershop because you niggas don't own it. Man, with the lucky few, salute to you guys. We don't even own our fucking liquor store. We don't even own our corner stores. Think about that. We want to talk about defund the police, but we can't even fund our own enterprises. Get the. It's so funny, right? We'll support all these fucking people from foreign countries in their corner stores, their gas stations. Oh my God. And these motherfuckers don't even send their kids to the same schools as yours. I want you to think about that. They don't even send their kids to the same school as yours. You don't care about education. You don't give a fuck what your son really does after they go to school. What is it? Where are we? Oh my God. We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck. Happy 30th anniversary. We don't give a fuck. I don't know why people are still pre-med student. Facts. Don't care about feelings, so put yours away. If you are truly a pre-med student, I would suggest this for you. Get a refund. Because if you don't understand hormones, especially the prominent ones when it comes to reproductive issues that pertains to women, then obviously you haven't studied that much. And obviously, I have no emotional ties to this conversation. I'm only using factual information. Or maybe you should do the better thing and go sit down in study hall with your professor and try to understand what I'm speaking on. Thank you and have a good day. Ah, had to chastise these so-called. Well, I, I got to read this. I'm a pre-med student and I also like to research and read facts. Don't care about feelings, so put yours away and listen. Men have a prime sperm degrade at ages with age as well as with drinking, smoking. You can still have kids at 60, but the likelihood of being kids without complications significantly increase. Let me just excuse me, y'all gonna listen to this. By the way, if you're truly a med student, what is the prime of a woman's fertility compared to a man's? Question mark. Because they are totally different, are they not? Matter of fact, let's erase that. I just want to see what what her answer is going to be. I'm tired of these stupid ass people trying to challenge me and Charles, don't do it. 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 See, these motherfuckers are just regurgitating information. If you really research it, is it proper for women to have children post 30, post 35, hell, even post 40? No, it's not ideal. Can it happen? Yes. Is it ideal? No. See, prime years for female to get to bear children is usually around 15 to really around 25, 27 if you're lucky. 30, that's when you start getting called geriatric pregnancy. 35 is really when you're in the midst of geriatric pregnancy. My boy Vince's ex-wife, guess what? She was in her early 30s, early close to mid 30s. She was called a high risk pregnancy. She was bedridden, especially later on in her pregnancy. Well, about midway through her pregnancy, she was bedridden. I wish people would actually research shit. You have a smartphone, but why do we still have stupid humans? Grandma babies. Yeah, you know? They want to have they see this is I've always said this to women, man. A lot of women out there forsake their superpower, which is femininity. You want to be just like fucking men, and you wonder why you're not married. Because no man worth his shit wants to be with a goddamn woman who isn't feminine. It's not cute. It's not cute. But you got these broads coming out here trying to elevate their intelligence, and they just make themselves sound stupid. I mean, realistically, if you're a med student, why would you tell women, "Oh, you can safely have children past 30"? Have you noticed how everywhere else in the world they deal with biology, but only in the Western world we deal with feminist ideology? You seen that Italian chick talk about, well, we don't want to be wives, we want to be husbands because you're tinkering with a car. You know what? Since women want to be men, stop. I think all men for 1 week should stop working. Stay at home and show them what it really feels like to have no male support whatsoever. You ever notice men never, ever, ever downgrade what women do that's important to society? We never do. But you want to muscle in, you got to muscle in and say that, oh, all we do is tinkering when we're working on cars. I remember once again, shout out to my boy Vince. His wife thought that, oh, he had it easy at work. Tell me and Vince said, could you do what he's doing? Have you had to move the heavy objects he has to move? Can you navigate a truck the way he can? We're not even talking about his earlier career as a police officer before truck driving. And when she actually sat down and figured it out, and said, oh, I can't do that. Shit got real, didn't it? Stop. They always want to downgrade what the fuck men do for society, man. We don't go out there saying, you know what? All you women who are in the educational field, which is the overwhelming majority of you, like what, 70, 80%? Oh, you're not doing a good job. Yeah, you're right. You're right, babe. Tell her put a carburetor in. You know what's funny? I believe in feminism. You know why? Because 50% of the military should be women, 50% of the police department should be women, 50% should be the firefighters, 50% should be the oil rig, engineers, 50% should be the longshore fishermen. See, 50% should be the bricklayers, construction workers, the dirt dig. See, you only want equality when it comes to high powered, high paying jobs, but you don't want to be 50-50 for doing what lays down the dirt in the roads. You don't want to dig in the dirt. 50% of the people who go in those sewers and clean them out and have to deal with whatever unsavory shit that's underneath us should be half women. But you don't want that. I don't go around saying, well, the women who own nursery schools got it easy. No, no, no. No, no, no. Do you know how many issues you could get with one toddler? One emotional, learning how to talk, running around, trying to get into shit toddler, and then try to deal with 25 of them at once. Good luck. But because this feminist ideology has lied to you, you wonder why you can't get married. You wonder why you're insufferable. You wonder why you're an asshole. You wonder why. I've always wondered this to myself. Why is it that you have fairly attractive women who's never even been engaged? Not even asked for a hand in marriage. Why? But I'm wrong for pointing this shit out, right? It's no different if I point out men speaking about, yeah, I want to have a baby because it'll make me a man. Who the fuck? When the fuck the young men in their 18, 19, 20, 21 have the audacity to say, I should have a baby because it might make me a man? Gone are the days, I guess, when joining the military used to make you a man. Joining the Peace Corps used to make you a man. Going under an apprenticeship made you a man. Fixing something. Going to climb a mountain. Go to tame a goddamn lion. Doing some adventurous shit made you a man. Being able to live on your own made you, but making a baby, it might make you more of a man. And you wonder, see, feminism did not just affect the women. We need to stop and just smell the roses here. We need to stop and smell the roses. I do think that, unfortunately, the biggest victims of feminism happen to be the boys. Mm-mm-mm. 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 Anytime young men are saying this to their friends, saying, maybe I should have a kid, you really trust that motherfucker and the system that. Yeah, I, You don't know how many times I have to have conversations on a weekly basis with young men, and I have to really be honest with them, especially black young men. The fucking system hates you. The fucking system hates you. You really think that chick, when she's down and out, she's gonna be trustworthy? And the sad thing about it is, you're a foolish dude to have a child by somebody you barely even know. There's one guy, 20 years old, and he has a chick pregnant, and he already has a kid that's 4, and you broke up with a chick and she's pregnant. You don't peep the game? Why put yourself? I told a lot of young men this shit, and I had to learn from my experience of being their age. A lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves, especially when it comes to young men and young women, that 40-year-old men can barely handle. Okay? 40 fucking year old men can't handle this shit. Some of them can't. They really can't. And this is shit that I had to learn from trial and error. You get that chick pregnant without, but here's the funny part. When you ask them, okay, if you're going to get the chick pregnant, are you going to marry her? They're like, well, marriage is dead. Bullshit. Then you really on some bullshit. So now you don't have a leg to stand on, a pot to piss in, but you want to get that chick pregnant. She's going to tear you from asshole to nutsack in that court of law. And then you'll be the same motherfuckers to bring your sorry ass to my channel and have the nerve to complain. When you put yourself through a predicament that guys like myself warned you about years ago. I have no fucking pity for the stupid. I may have a little bit of a heart to the ignorant because you don't know. You didn't know. But what about when you were warned? Look, it's one thing to have a child. It's another thing to have a child with a person you actually get along with, who you know, and you're both working to the goal to make sure that child is the best goddamn human being you can raise. But to frivolously throw your dick like Captain America throws his mighty shield, I can't get with that. Oh yeah, by the way, I know people like, y'all just talk about black women. No, 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 no. Everybody gets it on this channel. Fuck you. But yet, nobody wants to talk about those issues that feminism has brought. You're trying to raise your boys to be wives, but you don't respect those men who are wife-like. BGS had that video with the Italian chick who's an asshole, and she has 2 kids by 2 different men and never married. But then again, she doesn't talk about the bitterness that nobody asked for her hand in marriage because she ain't shit as a human being. She's a shitty human being with a poor ass attitude. She's not supportive. She's not submissive. She is not an asset to a man's life. And that's the reason why you're not fucking married. You only think that everything a man does in a marriage, he's benefiting. I'm going to tell you the real news, okay? A lot of guys may not tell women this shit, but we're going to tell you marriage does not really benefit men that much. Men always have to sacrifice. Even in today's society, it is more acceptable for that woman to stay at home and take care of the house and the kids than it is for the man. So let's stop the bullshit. Back in that day, you could throw a rock in a sea of 100 women. Wherever that rock hits, you would get a wife. The same could be said about men. If they had a sea, excuse me, with women, and they threw a rock in a sea of men, they would get a husband. No, no, no. Now it's like a DC and Marvel crossover. It's got to be a major event to know what the fuck you're gonna get. But we got a lot of these young men still living at their mother's house, thinking that, well, if I had this baby, it'd make me more of a man. Maybe you should focus on getting a fucking life and getting some life lessons so you can actually teach your kid one day. And this is the reason why it's important to have fathers in the home, and not just your father, but other men of the community, so called community. Because one, a lot of these boys grow up with the influence of their mothers and their sisters, and they start looking at life the same way women look at life. And the world does not treat us equally. Sorry, it just doesn't. Time is a lot longer for a man. That's why it takes a lot longer for us to be settled. There is no safety net for a woman, for a man when he falls. The most we get are parachutes, if that. It's like the old army cadence, look out below because I'm coming through. But really, having a child is going to make you. What adventures can you tell your children at 20? What did you go through? What can you teach them? Half you motherfuckers couldn't build a fucking house out of Legos. But see, it goes back into this male validation through female acceptance or attention. I need validation from this girl. If I get with her, I'm gonna feel like the man. If you do get it, you're going through hell and high water to get it, and it's damn near not even gonna be worth it to get it. But you know the old saying, like reading Rainbow, you ain't got to take my word for it. It's amazing. And to this day, it really amazes me and fucks my head up on how one little ideology can damn a whole generation or three. It really, to this day, it really fucks my head up. It really fucks my head up. Then on top of that, a buddy of mine recently told me that I should talk him on about how much it sucks to be a stepfather. Mm, mm. Somebody played the Jeffersons ending outro song. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Once in a while, you may get some success stories about being a stepdad, but 90% of the time, the reason why they call you a stepdad is because your middle name's Welcome and everybody's stepping on your ass. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But Charles, how would you know? What's your experience? I'll tell you a little story about myself. When I was in a house with a little chick living together, my son was real little. He was about 3, 4. Okay. He was crying. He was a little whiny. She had a daughter the same age, not about a year younger. She would call me when I went to work and say, "Well, your son's crying. I don't know what to do." And this is the bullshit of how if you're not from another nest, they don't give a fuck. If you're not from that woman's nest, they usually don't give a fuck. Think about it. A chick will want you to have no kids, but she can have the whole fucking Ravens fucking defense out of her womb. Picture that. You already see what Kendra G, you know, Kevin Samuels Light had a woman up there who had three babies by three different men and didn't want a man who had kids. The hypocrisy. And I'll finish my story. I'm working, as a cop in the city of Baltimore. She calls me, Peanut's crying. I don't know what to do. You might have to take him to his mama house. You know what pissed me off especially? Yeah, Kevin Samuel Thief. Yeah, she is. Not only did you have a child, you had four kids. You had a child a year younger than my son, and you were a goddamn preschool teacher. So you don't know how to handle kids. That is your fucking profession on how to handle kids and how to comfort kids at that age. But when it comes to my son, you couldn't do it. So when I settled the issue and I was like, you can't even do a solid for me while I'm working, I said, you know what? I don't give a fuck that we live together. Don't you don't you ask me to be here with your kids. I will leave the fuck out the door. You better take them with you from now on in the day. And what's really fucked up of being a stepdad a lot of times, yep, you're right. She saw no benefit in my kid. And that's why I said, you watch your own goddamn kids. Fuck all that. Don't leave them with me. I made it a point to leave out that door. She thought I was playing one time. I said, go get your damn kids. I'm out the door. And to give you a preview of what my buddy talked to me about being a stepdad, his stepson, who he raised since 11, and he's like, what, 18, 19 now, said to his mother, because he's never going to say it when homeboy's around, said to his mother that he didn't like him and he doesn't like the way he talk about him. That's why he sleeps in his car, not in the house. And I told my buddy, fuck him. If he doesn't appreciate that you were there for him, taking him to sports, taking him to the dentist, taking him to the doctors, doing all this shit, fuck him. It's the same thing with Zion when his stepdad showed him how to fucking play ball and coached him to be an NBA superstar. You know who he thanked? He thanked everybody but the man who got him there. Everybody but the man who got him there. And I think that's fucked up. Too many motherfuckers don't even understand how fucked up it is. Take your time trying to teach people. You take your time trying to cultivate the next generation, even if it's not your biological child. And then what happens? You get shitted upon. But then, but then you wonder why we don't want to deal with it. Does it benefit you? Does it benefit you? Here, this is what pains me a lot, people. Do you teach that boy to be respectful? Did you teach that boy to say, shut the fuck up? He may not be your biological father, but he's all you fucking got. So respect that man. No, there's no emphasis on respecting that man. You upset because he holds you to a masculine frame. But you could go to your mom like a little bitch, cry to him, but you can't even shake the man to look him in the hand and say thank you. This is the reason why men don't want to be stepfathers. This is the reason why they don't want to be there. Who the fuck wants to be shitted upon? Who? Where's the benefit? Where does that man benefit? If you have somebody that strong in your corner, that should be your best friend. That person gave a fuck about you. And the problem is, you have a lot of mothers out there who do not enforce their children respecting that damn man in that house. That's a discipline issue. Why don't you respect that man in that house? And then you're gonna say, well, they're saying don't pick single. This is the reason why. One of the main reasons why they don't want to pick single mothers. One of the reasons why. Because it's a thankless fucking job. Being a father of biological children, many of times is pretty fucking thankless. Sorry. How many people remember Pop Pop? How many? Big Mama got all the control, but nobody remembers the motherfucker who put us in the house in the first place. Oh yeah, mothers get jealous. Oh yeah. Jim Rat says, good morning, OG. Not to get you off subject, but I'm almost 9 years in the Army, thinking about getting out. I don't know. I don't like where the Army's going these days. I want to hear your thoughts on it. The Army is trying to be this gentler, kinder place because they already know that a lot of the young men, I can't speak for the females, but I'm going to say this for the young men, they're not getting a quality fucking product. When you have young men who are 18, 19, and 20 who can't do 24 push ups, I think that's pathetic. I think it's fucking pathetic. The Army is very consistent with what society is going through. They want to deal with culture and all this little tolerant shit. And look, when you're paid to be a warrior, when you're paid to be the warrior class, nobody gives a fuck about your gender. Nobody gives a fuck about your sexual preference. Nobody gives a fuck about your religion. Nobody gives a fuck about your race. Can you win this motherfucking war? Can you do your damn job? That's what ultimately it boils down to. Can you obey the orders and do what the fuck you told? And when you're off, that's your time. But when you're here, you're on my time. Why do you need to fucking be transgender in the military? Get the fuck out of it and do it on your time. It serves no functional purpose. Why do you need to be gay? Serves no functional purpose. When I was in, it was don't ask, don't tell. Some of the greatest fucking soldiers, Marines, coasties, fucking airmen, sailors were probably gay or lesbian. And a lot of them you didn't know because you didn't care because they did their fucking job. This is a reflection on society. We got to have this wokeism. Oh, you're using woke. No, 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 no. You're woke. It serves no fucking purpose being woke. Does being all this shit have to do with serving your fucking country? The answer is no. Fundamentally, you're creating more division than what's needed. It's the same damn thing I said about Ranger School. Let's say those fucking three women, because we already know they couldn't hack it in Ranger School. I'll say it. They were given more time. They were given time to shower. They were given time to rest, which is almost unheard of in Ranger School. One of the toughest fucking things you could do in life. And I'm supposed to believe this little 150-pound woman, when it's been known that you're going to lose about what, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds from also the workload and the lack of fucking nutrition and eating, that you pass Ranger School? When first and foremost, a Marine Corps captain, female, white, blue eyed, blonde haired woman who was fit as a fucking fiddle, said that she had an irregular menstrual cycle because of the effects of fucking Ranger School. She was temporarily sterile. She didn't process enough energy. She had irregular periods. And I'm supposed to believe these motherfuckers had. So this is what happens in this woke culture, right? Because they're trying to push agendas that women can do it too. Why don't you have these bitches in an all female special operations unit and train them up to the highest potential that you could do any human being and put them out on missions? You know why? Because they would get killed. All this sisterhood shit, all this sisterhood shit that they speak of is non-existent because they don't believe in the same principles as brotherhood and teamwork. They just don't. What did Al Bundy said? Women understand women. That's why they hate each other. If you see two women getting along, that's only because they're getting close enough to stab each other in the back. I know. Controversial as shit today, huh? Fuck you, that's why. Fuck you, that's why. I want you to really think about this. And this is really sad what they did to all those guys who went to Ranger School. So when you finally have a chick who can physically go through the standards that any man could go through, and she didn't need any help by the cadre, you just cheated her out the experience and made people say, well, if she didn't have the help, why? Because you did it before. You just cheapened that woman's experience of Ranger School of accomplishing something that's worthwhile. So if you do have women who are capable. Now you already have an asterisk behind their name. Thank you, woke culture. Pushing the agenda one dumb motherfucker at a time. Hey, girly. Hey, Toya. She always had the fantastic pictures. See, that's the reason why, if you really want to be in certain organizations, pulling your own goddamn weight is compulsory. Highly compulsory. It is goddamn paramount. Because if you're going to that place and you're saying that I'm Ranger capable, which means I am among the best trained mechanized and light infantry units in the world, that I am mobile ready for special operations, taking over buildings, you know, what else do they do? They take over airstrips. They do a lot of this shit, and you're saying that you're capable. So that means I could go to your file, put you in the 75th Ranger Battalion, and you would already know what to do and how to fit. But why aren't you going to these combat units? Why aren't you putting the sweat equity that everybody else is? Where's the equity? Where is it, my dude? Where is it? You talk all this shit about equality, but what have you done that's equal? Did you pull your motherfucking weight? Remember, I'm wrong for asking these questions. I'm wrong. You want the glory, but you don't want the accountability, the responsibility. You want the joy, but you can't stand the pain. You want the sunshine without the rain. That's how you know it's agendas. When they went to go look at those women's sheets, guess what? They couldn't find none of these scores. They couldn't find none of the comments the cadre wrote. It was fucking baffling. You couldn't find none of it. None of it. So that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it, Jim Rat. And don't forget to hit that cash app, people, please. You know, Dr. Thunder has to buy me a sandwich. I said, buy me a cigar. God damn. Being cheap. So back to this stepdaddy shit, man. A lot of guys like Bay, BGS, and others have said this. Older men see themselves in young men. Everybody wants to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Luke Skywalker and the Anakin Skywalker. At some point, every man wants to pass down what he knows, not only to his son, his nephews, his little cousins, his little brothers, but also the other kids in the community. It's also another thing when you join unions in a family. The least that man can get, if he's taking on the responsibility of dad, he should have the full privileges of such. And I really have to question my boy who went through that, and I had to look at what have you been telling this your son the whole time behind my back for him to disrespect me, and I've been raising him since he was 11. I'm the one he came to when he came to learning how to drive. I'm the one he came to when speaking about girls and the opposite sex. I'm the one that he came to when I had to teach him about how it is to be a black man in today's society. But this is the thanks I get. I'll ask anybody, what are the benefits of being the stepdad? What are they? Think about it. I could go on any of these dating apps right now and I'll hear the same bullshit rhetoric. Well, my kids are a blessing. Yeah, to you? To you? Your kids are a blessing to you. Can that man discipline your children? But he sure got to pay for them. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure a lot of women be like, well, he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to buy anything. Yeah, y'all live together and he comes in there with McDonald's for himself. Are you going to be okay with that? Are you? Are you? No. Stop fooling yourself. If you live with it, if that guy lives with you when you're married, you have an expectation of him taking care of the household, including your kids. But he can take care of your kids, but can he get any respect from them? Especially in most of these cases where daddy is nowhere to be found. Does he get it? And that's ultimately what it is. And I hope my homeboy's listening when I say this. The reason why it's hard for a lot of black men to be stepfathers is look at the respect black men get in our own communities as just men alone, not even fathers, just men. Think about it. How much respect do we get as men? And that tells you how much fatherhood, whether biological or step, biological or what's the word? Appointed. Look how much respect we get. And you wonder why fatherhood is not respected in the black community. We don't put a big emphasis on that shit, man. We don't. Babe made a Let her ask you for $10 for her kid's field trip and see what happens when you say you ain't got it. Oh, you ain't shit at that moment. You ain't shit. You never gonna be shit. Who are you, nigga? You a broke ass nigga at this point. You a broke ass nigga. That's what you are. You just broke. You ain't about shit. If you can't provide, if you can't do something, then what are you worth? What are you worth? That's why every relationship there should be some ground rules of respect. I don't care if it's dating, I don't care if it's working, I don't care if it's your friends. There has to be a ground rule of respect. And unfortunately, I'm starting to think that black men are not built nor want respect. They just want love and affection like a goddamn dumbass puppy. They don't crave respect like men of yesteryear used to. They didn't give a fuck if their wives and children loved them. They gave a damn if their wives and children respected them. You got that right, babe. Men want respect more than love. Men want respect more than love. That's what happens. We forget all this shit. We forget a lot of shit that we actually have. And what we crave for is respect. We forget that. We go into these relationships blind, bushy eyed, bright eyed, and bushy tailed, excuse me. And we don't even say, hey, do you respect me? I think a lot of guys are scared to even ask that question. Do you respect me? I love you. No, no, no. Fuck all that. I want you to think about that. If you ask the question, do you respect me? And I think a lot of guys will be surprised by the answer. Do you respect my wishes? Do you respect me as the head of household? A lot of guys can't even ask that question without flinching. Oh yeah, my girl love me. My girl love me. But yet she could be disrespectful in front of your friends, in front of you. She could be unsavory, unbecoming of a damn woman in front of your friends. Tell you that if a chick comes over there and kiss you and you don't even know the chick and this is out of the ordinary, she's gonna automatically cheat on you. Wow. Wow. mean, what's the fucking point? Go ask to see if you're respected. Go ask to see if you're respected. That's a true testament to a relationship of any type. Does your boss respect you as an employee? Do you respect your boss as being the supervisor? Do you respect your friends even though you may never always agree? We have these twisted ideals of what it means to be. We don't even like to say, hey, I don't think this is fair. I think it's important for us to even build upon this. They said I had a homie whose girl got him arrested, bailed him out, and he ran from the courthouse away from her, and she was trying to control him through the police. Exactly. Exactly. Why would you even, once you call the cops on me, once you do that, it's over. There is nothing to be talked about. There's nothing to be spared. Once the law gets involved, relationship's over. Relationship's over. What's up, my Steve Scott? What's up, underrated? I think that's what happens. That a lot of times we don't even crave respect. And that's what happens to a lot of our personal relationships. We go in there with one ideology, but yet we never go in there with a full plan. Mm, thank you for that. And I think that's what mainly is the issue when it comes to relationships is the lack of respect. When you look at it on a fundamental scale. Because I can't blame the child, and I'm pretty sure my homeboy's listening right now, or he's gonna listen to the playback. Playback. You don't judge a tree by its bark. You judge it by the fruit that it bears. I have to ask you: If we were together this long and your child has the audacity to disrespect me, what did you instill into that child? Did you instill into that child respect? One, the best advice I could give to any mother right now with a son, send him to his father. And if you're scared that you can't send your son to his father, that says a lot about your choice in mating and who you let and whose baby you gave birth to. If you're not with the father in any type of relationship, why do you have that son past the age of 10? Why do you have him? Well, he was not there. He didn't do. See, we're going to be adults. Did you pick wisely? You wonder why when these young black boys get out there in the real world, they can't handle it. They'll make a bunch of babies and smoke weed all day, and then wondering why. Oh, why you got all these baby mamas? You didn't teach him any goddamn thing else. You didn't want him to be held to a standard of being a man. Thank you as well, underrated. Thank you. And thank you all for all the veterans out there. Thank you for your service. Nobody knows the sacrifice you put in there, but thank you for it. Jim Rant said, "Oh, gee, I believe I was the last wave through boot camp that was branded pick up your own fucking rucksack and let's go." I can say that now as an NCO, I'll be in Command Sergeant Major's office for an EOC complaint. Of course. Of course. I'm a sergeant in a small police department and I was complained on by a female. And she's no longer working for the department, but they hired her back in another one, even though she was making the workplace a hostile environment and people felt unsafe around her because she was mentally unstable. But they hired her back for another department. I said, you know what? It's time to be in the sublime. It's time to be in a state of comprehension, in a state of beauty, in a state of intelligence, spirituality, and excellence beyond human comprehension. Bay said you failed as a mother if you didn't put your teenage daughter on birth control and educate her about the diseases and the nature of different types of men. Yep. Yep. I mean, see, the one thing I got out of that video with that little Italian rude ass chick, it shows you how many modern women are fucking lazy. There was a time that modern women pride themselves on how much they can serve and be an asset to their men. How it was bragging rights to talk about how successful your boys were, how feminine and how motherly your girls were. But we're away from that. I really want you to think about that. How many women in our community think that after the age of 8, you really can't teach that boy anymore? I had a lady I date, son's 18. She whines about how sensitive he is. I wonder why he's sensitive. You raised him. You're a single mother. What type of attitude and what type of fortitude do you think he's going to develop if he's always around you? You didn't give him a dad who gave a fuck about him. What the fuck? But then you make fun of, you get upset with your son because sometimes he has a little bitchy attitude. Sometimes he gets emotional and cries. I don't, my mother got on my nerves. I ain't even bother about crying. I was like, whatever. Even when your mother try to hit you and try to make you cry, you like, whatever. I was like that for a long time as a kid. But you know what's funny? A lot of these kids don't have it in them. You rob a lot of your children from masculinity and guys who would have married you who were masculine men, but because you don't want to give up control, because you don't want to give up your winning ticket, you will risk losing it all than being submissive and gaining it all. That's your nature. That's what you really are. You really want to fuck up a future for your child. For what? This is fucking me over. It really upsets me. Basic fundamental things about respect. There used to be a time when you were a child, right? You could not outwardly and openly disrespect a grown ass person in public. If you had an issue with that person, you either talk to them or if they were above your age and pay grade, you had somebody like your parents talk to them. I'm really starting to see the correlation of this shit. I don't know how much more I can go on talking because, frankly, people like this behavior. You can teach them others. People like being disrespected. You don't like being challenged. Tell me one person who does when they come home trying to relax and take it easy. Do you want to be challenged? Well, no. Shut up now. I'm trying to really feel like, yo, what do you want out of this? I don't think that people appreciate the fact that somebody's coming out there to tell you the truth. Challenge to do what? Fight for supremacy in my own house? Exactly. Why take a losing deal? I'll be damned if somebody's going to be. Oh yeah, don't forget to fall underrated at 10:45 Eastern Standard AM. 10:45 AM after this. Underrated darkness, baby. See, why would I want to fight in my own house? But see, that's the issue about not knowing who you got in a relationship with in the first place. It doesn't just have to be marriage, it could be dating. Do you want to be with somebody who will embarrass you out in the open? That means you don't love yourself first. And ladies, do you want somebody that you're embarrassed to be with? Let me see what Mama said. I had a high school boyfriend whose mother actually told me he's weak and he ain't shit. Looking back on that, I can't help but to think that's because it's what she taught him to be. Hmm. Okay. You made me stay up a little bit longer for this. What you care about is what you're willing to cultivate. How that mother sees her child is a strong indicator how successful that boy's going to be. Because if that mother sees him as somebody's future father, somebody's future husband, he's going to be successful. You want to think one of the top pushy mothers you'll ever have? Look at an old German mother, an old German grandmother, an old Asian tiger lady. Look at those women. Pushy as fuck. Aggressive as a motherfucker. But they ain't going to raise their sons to be weak and fuck ups, are they? No, they're going to raise their sons to be overachievers. But when you look in our community, how many of our sons are allowed to be dropouts? How many of our sons are allowed to be scattered brain? How many? How many do we invest in cultivate? More and more, I talk to women, and they're talking about their son dropped out of school. A lot of this shit is unheard of in other communities, man. And she would actually tell her son that he ain't gonna be shit. What does that tell you? You got to remember that woman was projecting all her insecurities onto her child. Why? Because if I make him weak, he cannot leave me. He cannot leave me. Well, that is true. If you want to marry a tiger mom, if you want your children to excel, she's going to push them motherfuckers like a cart up a hill. All effort. I want you to think about this. There's a reason why they break down the children like that, Mella. Especially the boys. Because a woman that's sad, a woman that pathetic can't get a man. She's upsetting. A lot of these chicks demoralize their sons because they know their sons have nowhere else to go. I cultivate my son to be a winner. He's not going to need me anymore. I don't give a fuck how feminist and how gynocentric a woman can be. She knows good and goddamn well. If I put if I cultivate my son until he's 8 to 10, and then give him to his father, that boy is going to surpass me. He's no longer going to need me. As a matter of fact, a lot of women knock their sons down because their son, they're supposed to listen to their sons as the natural order. They don't want to be, they're so defiant of natural order. They don't want to have to be in a place where they have to listen to their son's decision. This is our women. You don't see your son as a king. You don't see your son as a king. You see him as a peasant. You see him as a gesture. You see him as a bodyguard. You don't see him as anybody ready to rule. And see, that's the hard part for a lot of men like that. They're so beaten down in the brain that they think that the only thing they could do for family, their mother can be a screeching harpy, a fucking banshee. And they're taught very early that mama can do no wrong. You got to be the bodyguard for mama's poor decision and men. They already told you they don't want to be mothers. They don't want to cultivate. They want to be the people who can sit around, watch football, and drink beer because that's all they think men do. That's all the fuck they think we do. We tinker around with cars. We watch sports. We fart. We belch. We eat chicken wings and pizza. I'm really sad about that. It really hurts my soul. How positive confirmation can do a lot when it comes to a child's learning, confidence, schooling, social environments. It's shameful, man. It's really sad. He could have been somebody's great husband, great father, great coach, mentor, teacher, engineer, cop, whatever. But because she planted that seed, I'm just so tired of this shit, man. It actually starts to depress you when everybody sees the violence in your community. Everybody sees the lawlessness, the unemployment rates, the children with no intact families. And it takes very little to solve this shit, but nobody wants to do anything about it. It's really sad, man. And you got women over here remembering dates from high school, boyfriends from high school, and now as adult women, full fledged, it's sad, man. It's sad. You got young men getting shot out there, and you're blaming the police, but nobody says, I want you to think about that, right? I want you to think about that. I want you to see about that. Every little time, especially you, Mella, how many times did you hear the negative input from his mother? And even back then, you're just like, well, damn, is this what she really thinks of me? Because they'll tell you to you no good heifer. They'll call you all kinds of shit. And notice that same mother who talks shit about him going back in and out of prison. Mm, 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 mm. If it took that little bit of time, he could have been something. But once again, we'll put him into the category of what he's going to be used like a carpenter using the tool. I don't know. Fundamentally, I think it's all doomed. Sad, man. But let me get out here and get some rest. Hit that cash app too, please. I don't know. It's hard to really put that in perspective, man. You know what? This shit's gonna This is shit disappoints me. Didn't stick around to find out. That story right there is example why a guy like myself will tell you if you truly love your children, cultivate them. Hard about that. Man or woman, cultivate your children. Treat that child like that child is going to be the future heir of a kingdom. But you know what? It's time for your boy to get some rest. Hit that cash app if you feel inclined. That's sad. I might do another part two later today or tomorrow because some of the stories that's coming out that I'm seeing very fucked up. Till then, everybody. Love, peace, hair grease, man.
By the power of Grayskull.